that are going to informal settlement conference or are cases set for SOA. We conducted 2 hearings before SOA, and we've got more coming. And this is one of the reasons that I translated or transitioned the investigator slot to an assistant general counsel slot and hired Paul. We're going to be taking the unauthorized practice cases to SOA more and more. You should be aware that in December we have 4 cases docketed on the first 4. Mr. Matz, Dina Corbin, Randy Redinger, and the other one whose name, thank you. Those are set to run kind of back to back to back, but they require a lot of effort. Discovery can be done, depositions can be done, and it takes staff time and energy to do that. And Paul is an experienced litigator. He's going to be assisting and working with Nicole. And oh, by the way, we also have those standard of care cases that we've got to get to SOA as well.
And we also have Dr. Farr that's set for November. So
thank you. And we've got Dr. Farr, as she just said, set for November. So that's one you've been watching for a long time. And that's part of that push. I mean, it takes a while to get there. But as you see these reports unfold during this coming fiscal year, you're going to start seeing that kind of activity that we're doing. We did 611 compliance inspections, and that is actual boots on the ground, an investigator in the clinic. And the thing that I'm most proud of these investigators, and I think they're all in the room, they're doing a great job because I get positive feedback. I mean, it's hard to walk into a clinic, and you all know this, and have somebody say, I'm from the government and I'm here to help, and really mean it. But the reality is, and I've received numerous comments, that they are there to try and help. They're courteous, they're respectful, they do their job, but they try to do it in a good, positive manner and assist the veterinarian in improving their practice. And we did 611 of them with the travel money that was restored in the last legislative session. And this, I think, is a critical element of getting out there face-to-face and not doing these paper compliance reports. But
how many mail-in compliance reports are there?
my understanding, and since Pete's not here, we didn't do any by-mail compliance this year. There were a few.
So we put it in the 610 or 11? So you are going to continue the mail-in compliance procedure,
right? But again, to repeat, I think that's a critical part because it puts a face to the board, and a lot of times we can help the veterinarian maybe with some minor little thing. We can answer questions that maybe have been nagging and make the practice better. And when I go to the TVMA meetings, whenever I talk to a local medical association, which I try to do as often as I can, I do get favorable comments. And I always tell them, if you see one of my investigators, one of the board's investigators coming in and treating you in any way other than what I've described I want, pick up the phone and call me. And so far, I haven't received a single phone call. So Dennis and Chuck and Michael, I really appreciate the work you do. And it reflects great credit on you and on the board. Again, at the very bottom, you will see we did 469 complaints received. We disciplined, again, a record number, 81 licensees. Now, I wish that were 0, but I know that's never going to be the case because we do have licensees that will fail to meet the standard of care, or will fail to get their CE, or fail to renew their DPS certificate on time. But look at the numbers preceding that, going all the way back to 1999. It's extraordinary. And if you look, the percentage of the veterinarians disciplined for all different orders, 17.3% of the complaints that we investigated resulted in disciplinary action. Some may say that that's too low. I will tell you that that compares extremely favorably with every other licensing profession. Whether you go look at the Texas Medical Board, the Pharmacy Board, the Dental Board, the Nurse Board, the Optometry Board, any of those kinds of things, our numbers compare extremely well to what the other professions are doing. So, does that mean we need to slack off? Absolutely not. But I do think we've got a great veterinary population out there that cares tremendously about animals and on balance does very, very good work. And you should be proud of your brothers and sisters in the profession because they're good. Okay. Following that, you can see a specific breakout of the different kinds of cases that were closed, the kinds of cases that resulted in action, and then a specific listing of those cases themselves. Continuing, and I'm going to turn back now to the other pieces of the Executive Director's report. The Licensing and Examination Report, that's under tab 26. Ina, if you would again briefly address that, please.
Members, what you have before you is material for the last 13 years, and I think the numbers speak for themselves. If you have specific questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Ina, you might mention just in passing where we are so they could have an update, because I don't think we've talked about it yet, on our online CE module and our work in that contract.
Right,
just
right.
take a few moments.
And as you know from previous board meetings, we are working with eStrategy Solutions to put a CE module online and make it available for the veterinarian to utilize. I'm putting the finishing touches on it, so to speak. We will allow the individual to attain 2 hours of continuing education credits at the practice management category through the participation in that online venue. We will advertise it as soon as it is launched, which I hope will be shortly. We are concentrating the current module on 3 areas which have been identified to me by enforcement as I guess most important. Of course, all laws and rules are important, but there appear to be 3 categories where there are the most violations, such as DPS and DEA permits, continuing education, records keeping, and things of the like. As I mentioned, we will advertise that the individual will be able to access this from home computer or library or any computer. It is available for purchase. I believe it's a $30 or $35 fee. Can be done online via credit card. There is a 24/7 help desk if individuals run into problems. And as we progress with this, or we are welcoming feedback, and of course we will broaden the spectrum of that CE module in the near future. Right now, as I mentioned, we're concentrating on the 3 areas that the enforcement has identified that people need to kind of beef up their knowledge a little bit. At the end of, or the conclusion of the module, the individual will be able to print a certificate of completion. And again, this is made available to them as soon as we finish, which I hope will be in the very near future.
And then the conclusion of kind of our 3-part thing will be ultimately the development of the state board exam online. So instead of having to go out and administer it in paper form 5 times a year, as we now do, it will be available to our graduates online. So we're really working on that, and that project's well underway. And again, a pat on the back to Ina, because she's kind of been launching that for me, and I appreciate it.
That may be next year, though, members, before we can actually put the licensing exam out there. I'm juggling as fast as I can. And it will be available not on a home computer, though. That licensing exam will be proctored. The company, eStrategy Solution, contracts with state junior colleges. So it is a proctored and monitored situation with valid picture ID and, of that nature. There will be statistics gained from that, and the way we envision that is to have windows of opportunity, pretty much like the National Board does now, except many more times. The National Board now has 2 windows during the year, and of course we have 5 exams that we give, and we hope to give at least 5 windows, if not more.
Ina, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Would it be a problem to ask on the renewal on the computer to identify where in veterinary practice our Texas veterinarians are at? Are they large animal, small animal, government?
We do
academic?
ask that now, and it is information that, is voluntarily submitted, and if it's omitted, we really have no recourse. But yes, sir, we certainly do ask that now.
Do you have